Good day, gamers. Today, projectile basics. We're going to create a simple projectile, make a prefab, and sort of start the coding process. Cool stuff. All right. So, to begin, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to art. And in this case here, we're going to try to figure out like what do we want in terms of our projectile. So, in this case here, are all of them gears as far as the projectile? Yeah. Oh, we've got a coin. Or is that a coin? Yeah, it looks like a coin. I don't know. I'm gonna grab the Marshmallow Man asset in terms of the projectile we're gonna launch because that's kind of boring. It's a gear for Ducko and for uh, uh, Ruby. That's disappointing. Anyway, so let's go ahead, walk on the wild side for a projectile. So go to the asset folder of your choice, go to projectile, and then we're going to go ahead. We're going to scale this. So in sprite mode, we're going to set this to 300. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and just bring this in. I can't bring it in because I'm not in scene mode. Okay. Anyways, we're going to bring that in. I might want to resize that, but that's good enough for now. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to be adding some components to this. We're going to be, so there's our projectile there. We're going to add a rigid body 2D and then make sure, let's see here, turn off gravity. All right. And then we need to go ahead and add a box collider 2D. Okay. So that's going to go ahead and eventually we're going to want to be grabbing, like, so it's going to want to detect when it sort of hits something. Okay. So let's go ahead here and let's go to box collider 2D as well. Cool. All right, so then what we'll do is we are going to create a script just called projectile. All right, so let's go ahead here to our projectile. Let's go to our scripts folder, okay? And then let's go ahead and say create mono behavior script. And then we're going to call this, let's say capital P, Projectile, projectile. Cool. All right, let's open that up. So we're going to go ahead and add, because this is going to be eventually looking for some player input. So we're going to go to where it says using Unity Engine. Let me increase the size here. Using Unity Engine, we're going to say here, actually we can copy and paste here. We'll grab that first line, we'll paste this, using Unity Engine dot, and then capital I input system, capital S. Okay. So we're going to start off by declaring a variable because we're going to be referencing this down the road. Capital R rigid body, RIG, ID, uh, BODY, 2 capital D, and then we're giving it, of course, the great name of RIG rigid body 2D. Okay, lowercase. So, oh, no. There we are. Okay, RIGIDBODY, my old nemesis, spelling. Okay, we're going to then go ahead to where it says start. We're going to change this to capital A, awake. Okay, so we want to make it so that, darn it, didn't want to do that, just awake. Okay, so we want it so that like when this is going to be sort of a new term. When this game object is instantiated, we want this to basically go. This is different than on start because instead of having it so that when the game starts, we want it so that when this basically object that this script is going to be attached to, we want that code to run. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab associate our rigid body 2D variable with the component that we're going to be working with. Okay, so get component, and then open caret, and then I'm gonna just copy and paste this. There we go. All right, end, and then open parenthesis, and then a semicolon. Cool. So again, this is going to associate that variable. We've done this many times now. It's going to associate this variable with this component so that we can basically access it and do things to it. In this case here, we're going to be creating launching it. So we need to work with the Unity physics system. All right. So let's go ahead here and we can just get. Let's just put it below update, or we can actually erase update. Okay. So we're going to call this, we're going to create a method called launch. Okay, so just like before we created a method called like change health. I'm trying to think of the other methods. I think we did heal and damage, that kind of stuff. But anyways, so public void, capital L launch. All right. And then the arguments this is going to accept will be a argument, or we can say here we're creating a parameter, vector 2. Okay. It's going to contain X and Y data, direction, comma, float force. Okay. So sort of like a premonition of like what is to come. We are going to be eventually calling this method called launch, and it's going to accept two arguments. It's going to accept a vector2 argument, which we're going to use the parameter direction as a placeholder, and then a force. So it's basically eventually we're going to have a projectile that's going to go in a certain direction, either like up or down or left or right, and then add a specific force. Okay. So within here, let's go ahead, let's do some open bracket, curly brackets and close curly brackets. We're going to go ahead and we're going to interact with that physics system. So rigid body 2D, that's that variable we did, dot add force, and then direction multiplied by force, and then we'll do a semicolon. Okay, so this is going to take advantage of the built-in Unity system, physics system, and it's going to basically eventually launch something in a certain direction at a certain force. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to add a detection, basically a detection method. So this is something we've worked with before with the health collectible. So we're going to say void on trigger enter 2D. I don't. It's unfortunate that code completion on trigger enter 2D, capital D, and then the argument it's going to take is going to be collider 2D, and then other. So we've seen this before with our health collectible, and then let's do some open brackets, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put a debugging statement that's basically going to be detection. It's going to just print to the console like, what am I slamming into? Okay, so this is a little wordy, but we got it here. Debug dot log, and then we're going to say here, so this is going to appear at the bottom, like in the console here, we'll see what it's colliding into. All right, debug.log, and in these parentheses, we're going to say here, let's do quotes so we can describe what's going on. And then we're going to say here, I am slamming into, and then let's go ahead. We're going to use a plus symbol. This is going to concatenate the information about the other thing it is slamming into. And then we're going to say here, other dot game object. Okay. Let's do a semicolon. And this is going to be something that will sort of happen, will not happen or kind of be important down the road. We're going to say here, destroy. That's an interesting spelling of destroy. No, destroy, open parenthesis, and then game object. Cool. All right. And that is wrong. There we go. Cool. So what this is going to do then is it's going to say I'm slamming into, and then it's going to give us information about the game object it's slamming into, and then it's going to destroy the projectile. We don't want to have like 50,000 projectiles kind of like slowing down our game. That would not be fun. So let's save this and then just attach it to the projectile script. All right. And then let's see here. There's projectile. Make sure you've got that up. And then we're just going to add this right there. Cool. And that's, oh, last thing. We'll go to prefabs and then take our projectile and put it into the prefab folder. Cool. I wish you the best of luck. Great stuff, my dudes.